Welcome back to part 6 of 8. What explains the empty tomb, the resurrection? Let's talk about it. If Jesus never rose from the dead, Christianity is false. But if he did rise from the dead, then that changes everything. So here's the question. What explains the empty tomb? So even many scholars, skeptical scholars, agree on several historical facts. Jesus died by crucifixion. He was buried. The tomb was later found empty. The disciples believed that they saw him alive again. The disciples were completely transformed. So something had happened. The question is, what best explains that something that happened? So some say the disciples stole the body, but that theory in and of itself has a problem. Because in Matthew chapter 28, verses 11 through 15, the Jewish leaders paid the guards to spread the story that the disciples stole Jesus' body. Now let's think about that. The earliest enemies of Christianity never argued that Jesus was still in the tomb. They never produced a body. Instead, they tried to explain why the tomb was empty. That is called an enemy attestation. So even the critics admit there was an empty tomb. Others claim the resurrection was a legend. But legends take a lot of time. So the resurrection message, in fact, appears immediately. In the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 3 through 7, Paul records an early Christian creed that many scholars date within just a few years of the crucifixion. It says something like this: Christ died for our sins according to the scriptures. He was buried, he was raised on the third day, and he appeared. This wasn't a story that developed centuries later. That was the original message. The earliest Christians proclaimed the resurrection from the very beginning. And here's something worth considering, right? The New Testament accounts were written in the first century by eyewitnesses and those connected to eyewitnesses, right? So the denial of Jesus' crucifixion appears more than 600 years later in the Quran. So, which source is historically closer to the event? The eyewitnesses or a text written 6 centuries afterward? And for our Muslim friends, there's another fascinating question for you guys. Surah chapter 5, verse 47, where it says, "Let the people of the gospel judge by what Allah has revealed therein." So, what does the gospel say? The gospel consistently teaches that Jesus died, was buried, and rose again. And then we find something remarkable in the hadith as well. In the hadith of Sahih al-Bukhari, hadith number 3448, Muhammad says, "Surely Jesus, the son of Mary, will soon descend amongst you and will judge mankind justly." Think about that. Why Jesus? Why is Jesus the one who returns? Why is Jesus the one who judges? The Gospels give us an answer. Because Jesus is not merely another prophet. He is the risen Lord who conquered death. So if you're enjoying these videos, take a second to follow, like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments, what do you think best explains the empty tomb? So if Rome had a body, Christianity dies. If the religious leaders had a body, Christianity dies. If the disciples were lying, Christianity dies. Yet Christianity did not die. It exploded across the Roman Empire. The tomb was empty. The witnesses testified. The critics could not produce a body, and the message changed the world. The resurrection is not merely a church doctrine. It is an event that divided history itself. And if Jesus walked out of that grave, then the question is no longer what happened to Jesus. The question is, what will you do with the risen Christ?